In my last video, we said that Mockman isn't very good, and a lot of people have been asking, well, why isn't he very good? And if you didn't join us on our Twitch stream where we broke down his skills and discussed the various things that make him not very good, then that's what we're going to be doing today. And hopefully today this is going to educate you in how to assess a hero based on their skills so that you don't waste time building them and being disappointed. Because there's a lot of fundamental things you need to know about what makes a hero good, and we should be touching on those today, and hopefully it should actually inform you guys about how to analyze heroes critically when deciding what to put into your team. So let's get cracking. Normally when I start looking at a hero, the first thing I want to look at is the passives. I don't like looking at active skills straight away because that normally contains a lot of convoluted things that are informed by the passives. It can go both ways, so it's not immediately, you know, a perfect solution to look at the active skill last, but generally I like to look at the passives because passives are the things that normally make heroes very, very good, and then active skills seal the deal. So first passive, let's take a look at this. This is Unbending Soul. So Mockman's going to gain HP, armor, control immunity, and precision. Straight away, what you should notice from this is there is no crit. There is no mention of crit or crit damage, therefore he's not going to be popping off dealing a ton of damage to opponents unless of course you build him towards that, using things like a crit stone, Punisher of Immortal, or various artifacts that are going to improve his damage, or maybe running him alongside heroes that can improve your crit, such as a Rogan. Inbuilt lack of crit can be a problem if damage is what he's trying to do. That said, we have here 55% precision. Okay, is that jumping out to me as something amazing? Well, precision is a nice counter to heroes that want to block, but that's all it really is. And I guess, like, there's heroes out there that do have precision that are quite good, like Penny, but really precision on its own doesn't jump to me as an amazing skill. And then armor and HP, great. It just means he's chunky. So he's got a nice big fat armor stat and a big HP pool. But to what end? That just means he's going to be hard to kill. So maybe there's something good about him sticking around. Maybe he's got some crazy rewards if he makes it to round 5 or something. And even that doesn't sound to be like a good thing. Chunkiness is good, but there needs to be something he's doing whilst he's on the field and not dying. So far, I'm a little concerned. Control immunity 25% though is nice, and I'm guessing that gets buffed up. Yeah, so it comes to 30%. That's still really nice. That's a good number. 30% control immunity means it's going to be less likely that he gets CC'd. So that's one thing we can consider. He's going to be difficult to stop if you build him with some decent amount of control immunity. Now, the only other way to stack control immunity onto him is with heroes like Freya, or with an artifact like Snowheart or Magic Stone Sword. They may not be immediate choices for people, so it's more that 30% control immunity is nice, but it's, again, not going to seal the deal against heroes that can control you, because control immunity offset is very much a thing, and CC heroes, if built properly, should definitely be running things that enhance that. So yeah, not jumping out to me as amazing. Let's go to the Iron Fist. So this is going to be the first of his more descriptive passives. So his basic attack is going to deal 420% of damage. If we go to the upgraded version, which I think we should look at from now on, it's actually going to be 640% to one random enemy. This is instantly terrible. So you might think, wait, it's just his basic, but when it comes to what a hero needs to be doing in 2022, one random enemy is shockingly bad. And it says it prioritizes the enemy with death contract, so hopefully that's redeeming. But when it comes to targeting a single opponent, what we like to see is the lowest HP, because that can then synergize with heroes like Drake, who will severely debuff that person so that they die very quickly, and you can get your whole team to gang up on that one hero. One random enemy is a little more convoluted, and as you'll find with death contract, it isn't as easy to pick the hero that gets hit by death contract as you'd think, and that results in a really awkward hero, and Mockman's just going to be hitting a random target, and a single target of that's not very good. He's then going to deal extra damage dealt, which is equal to 10% of the target's current HP. Great, I guess that scales the more powerful a hero is, so that's good. It means he can compete against opponents, but then at the same time, to stop it getting out of hand, it's capped at 1500% of his attack. So on one hand, that's nice. On the other hand, it's just an extra bit of damage, which really isn't going to make too much of a difference. Meanwhile, he's going to reduce their armor by 50%. Great. I guess if we wanted a hero to do that, though, we'd be running Drake. And the funny thing with Drake is Drake just does it at the start of the round, whereas Mockman needs to hit them. And also, annoyingly, Mockman hits a random opponent, and Drake hits the lowest HP. So do you see just how poor that is as an ability? I've not read anything here that's actually good, because there are other heroes out there that do it way better. And then look at this. Mockman has a 100% chance to gain a layer of Wrath of Shadow. Great. And if you read, Wrath of Shadow actually affects his active skills. So the basic attack sets up for an active. So already that's telling me he's got a very slow ability. Now, remember the last hero we had that really had a good setup for their active skill? Yeah, Natasha, Tussalago. Not a good trend, right? You'd think DH Games would know by now, setup heroes don't normally do very well. And it's unfortunate. Wrath of Shadow is hopefully going to be good, but it's not jumping out to me as something that's amazing. Now, Death Contract, even though this ability doesn't deal it, it's going to tell us what it does. So it's going to reduce the damage dealt by enemies without Death Contract, so only the Death Contract enemy is unaffected, and it will reduce the damage dealt by 50%. So basically, Mockman is saying everybody else, apart from the Death Contract hero, is going to deal half damage to me. Okay, that's just Mockman. If it said your entire team, oh wow, that would be really good, but it doesn't. It's just Mockman. So I don't get this. He's basically making himself harder to die. It's just such a selfish ability. It's like, okay, guys, don't worry. They can't kill me now. But I've not read anything that makes me want to keep Mockman alive, let alone put him in my team. There's nothing he's doing. Great, he doesn't die, but then what? So that's a bit of a shame. And there can only ever be one enemy with Death Contract. Great. So Death Contract just means he's going to prioritize his attacks against them, and everybody else that doesn't have Death Contract is going to deal half damage to Mockman. Sure. Okay, let's move on to the next passive. This better be good. So this is called Rancorous Revenge. Love the alliteration here, DH Games, but let's hope it's actually good. And instantly I'm worried because it starts with if Mockman is in the front line, which means we now have an ability where we're wasting text and we're wasting skills dependent on where he is in the lineup. So that's a bit of a concern. So half of this isn't even going to matter depending where he is on the team. So if Mockman's in the front line, which is slot 1 or 2, when the battle starts, that's good. So if it starts, start of the round, good. Or when he's substituted in, so that's when he's swapped in the Trial of the Champion, he will increase his damage reduction by 30%. So great, he just becomes tanky. Now, you know what I find really funny with this? Let's go back to his skills, right? HP, armor, control, immunity, precision. You might think, whoa, he gains 30% damage reduction. Guys, look at Mim, right? Look at Mim's passive. Mim just has 30% damage reduction. It's not unheard of for a hero to have built-in damage reduction. Though, so basically, he's gaining damage reduction, which is nice, but then it's deteriorating by 6% every round. So it's like they could have given him 30% damage reduction and just left it there, but no, it's 30% damage reduction that gets worse. And that's his bonus for being on the front line. How bad is that? Right? That's it. And then if he's on the back line, his crit goes up by 60%. Okay, and then that deteriorates by 12. Why didn't you just give him 30% damage reduction and 60% crit? Why do we need precision and armor? Like, come on! I don't understand this decision. I guess it means, ooh, you can be more flexible with where you put your Mockman. You know what? There's only one place I want to put my Mockman, and it's not in the front line or the back line. I'll let you guys fill in the blanks. Anyway, when he takes a basic attack or active skill, okay, here we go. He's actually doing something. He's a reactive hero. Haha, finally, he's doing things. He's going to gain crit damage by 25%. Bear in mind that crit damage is capped at 150%, and there's other ways of boosting it, but I guess, okay, good, he's gaining crit damage, but you know what that tells me? That tells me you don't want to put him on the front line, because I want him to crit, right? So I want this 60% crit. But then the crit's going down every round. So as the rounds go on, and he gets hit, he's improving his own crit damage, but then he's reducing his chance to crit. How bad is this? It's just progressively getting worse. It's like, great, he's a crit hero, but his crit gets worse, but over time his crit damage is going to go up because he's going to get hit more. But because you want him to get hit, you'd want to put him in the front line, but no, to get the crit bonus, you've got to put him on the back line. Like, what are DH Games thinking? This is dreadful. And then, here we go. If he gets hit, there's a 40% chance to gain 1 layer of Wrath of Shadow. Ooh, it's back, right? You know that ability that we only get when the active skill happens? We've not even read the active skill yet, and I'm still worried. And it's only a 40% chance, mind you, so that's not very good. And finally, he's going to launch a counterattack. Oh, good. So if you think of Eloise's counterattack, that hits 3 random enemies. Ooh, that's nice. Or let's think about King Barton's counterattack. That hits everybody. And what does this say? 800% of attack damage. And I see. And if the target of the counterattack is inflicted by Death Contract, he's going to deal an extra 800% of attack damage to them and reduce their attack by 30% for 2 rounds. Oh. Oh. I see. Right. So, it's a single target counterattack. And the only good thing about this is it reduces their attack by 30%. That's a massive attack reduction. Granted, right? That's as big as Tix's attack reduction. That is the only good thing I've read so far. Single target counterattack isn't good. Eloise hits 3, King Barton hits all of them. King Barton isn't even used, right? So, I'm sorry, but Eloise is just a better hero here, and reduces their attack by 30% is the only good thing we've read. So, great, we have a hero we can use in broken spaces to reduce the damage bosses are dealing. Love that. But by the way, it's only against the boss that's been hit by Death Contract. Oh, right. But still, there we go. He's a broken spaces hero because he reduces attack. Although, so is Tix, and Tix is just better. So, I'll hold your horses on that one, baby, because it's going to get wild. Let's look at this active skill. Here we go. Breakout of Impassi. Impasse? Impasse. What now? Right, let's just Google this. Impassi. A situation in which no progress is oh, it's just impasse. But since what? Impasse is just fair enough. I learned a thing. Impasse is spelt like that. Well, wait, breakout of impasse? That sounds so what? So there's a breakout of nothing. A breakout of going nowhere. Okay, sorry. I shouldn't judge these titles, but well, we all learned a thing. That's how impasse is spelt. I've been spelling it wrong my entire life. There's an E at the end. Anyway, active skill deals 1200% of attack damage. Yes, right? That's like big numbers. Transcendence heroes deal that kind of damage. Excellent. To one random enemy. Oh. Right? You know how great this could have been if it said to all opponents? So if you put a Mockman in your team and you put any other good hero in your team, you'll be like, why is Mockman dealing like no damage? It's because he's hitting one target, whereas Halora hits everybody. And I know it's bad to compare a Transcendence hero with a non-Transcendence hero, but this is the kind of stuff we have to weigh heroes up against. And 1200% of attack is a big number, but to one target, again, it's like this guy is just made for boss fights. And oh, there we go. We've got target max HP damage 20%, caps at Mockman's attack. So again, all he's doing is just fighting bosses. This is just a PvE hero, but that's all I could say. But why, right? Great. And then meanwhile, he's going to inflict Death Contract to the target. Okay, now we understand where Death Contract comes from. So he actually needs to do an active skill round 1. If he's even going to do all of the Death Contract stuff we've read. Because the active skill is the only place Death Contract comes from. So if you're trying to use him in any actual, challenging game mode, where there's like carries, for example, who can steal your energy, if Mockman is never ever getting an active skill, then unfortunately, Mockman is doing nothing because Death Contract is kind of the be-all and end-all of his abilities. And if he is getting his energy stolen and never dealing Death Contract, he's not able to steal attack, and unfortunately, he's now targeting random enemies rather than the one that's Death Contracted. But oh dear, it's a random enemy, right? It's stupid. And actually, that's a lie. If the active skill defeats an enemy, so if he manages to kill someone with this active skill, he will inflict Death Contract to the enemy with the highest attack. Okay, there we go. And then he can obviously steal their attack with the ability or reduce their attack by 30%, whatever it was. So I guess that's one nice thing, but it's slow. It requires setup. Setup in a game where aggression and burst is the way, or you go with Mega Sustain, and you probably don't want to be running a hero like Mockman. So I just find it's very tedious. And he's going to taunt them. That's nice. So he forces them to hit him. Taunt is good. Don't get us wrong. Taunt actually is a very good way of disrupting opponents. But he taunts the opponent with Death Contract. So one person gets taunted. Single enemy CC in 2022. May I introduce you to our Lord and Savior, Walter, whose basic attack has a 100% chance to stun an enemy for 2 rounds. Single target CC. Now, let me tell you what Walter is doing in the meta. Great conversation we just had about Walter's viability. Wow, that I felt like I taught you so much. But yeah, hopefully you're starting to see now that Mockman's abilities are a little bit half-baked. And okay, now let's see what the Wrath of Shadow is going to do. That gets consumed by this active skill. Okay, so with each layer, he's going to deal an extra 400% of attack damage to that one target, and then restore his HP. Oh, that's nice. By 6% of his max HP. So that's fat, right? He's going to get some nice juicy healing. It's different components, so it'll go around Amun-Ra's healing curse. Again, very, very nice. But great. Mockman is healing himself. He's staying alive. I guess that makes him have self-sustain, and maybe he can whittle down enemies as a single target. And you might think, oh, is that useful in Seal Land? Potentially. But he's also a dark hero. He has to compete with Carrie, Drake, Amun-Ra, Aspen. Like, come on. Why would you build this guy to do your Dark Seal Land when I'd way sooner build Drake or Carrie? Like, oh my word. But I could see the attraction here, and maybe people are like, ooh, this could be good in Aspen Dungeon. Why are you building a Dark hero to do your Aspen Dungeon? Again, just build ticks. Way easier to construct, way less resources needed. And as I said, if the active skill defeats an enemy, he's going to inflict death contract to one enemy with the highest attack. Lovely stuff. And that's it. That's all he does. So he stays alive, gives himself loads of damage reduction, and then hits one enemy, taunting them, and everyone else deals half damage to him. Once the rest of your team is doing whatever they do. There is very, very little synergy built into Mockman. The only thing he has that is remotely good is this ability right here that steals 30% of attack. An attack reduction of 30% is significant in Broken Spaces. It does require an active skill round 1, so that you can deal death contract to one opponent, and unfortunately he's only going to steal attack from one enemy. Look at ticks, right? Let's read this active skill. Here we are. Steals the target's attack for 3 rounds, and 4 random enemies. Oh, right. So, what sounds better, folks? 25% of attack stolen from both enemies for 3 rounds, or one person getting their attack stolen by 30%. I promise you, in Broken Spaces, it's way more significant to run a ticks. And yeah, that doesn't require the death contract setup. It's just better to still use ticks. So all in all, Mockman is really bad. And he is so leaning towards his active skill that it's a joke. Wrath of Shadow only works if his active skill goes off. He only deals death contract if his active skill goes off. If he never gets an active skill, half of his abilities don't even work. And the abilities that do work deteriorate over time. So that crit that you're gaining, that damage reduction that you're gaining, basically by round 5 has disappeared. Which is bad. I'll just straight up say it. It is terrible. And he's gaining all his crit damage only to lose his crit in the process. So yeah, maybe he's going to deal good damage early on, but halfway through the fight, he's going to basically crit only half the time if you build him for crit. It's just not very good. So it's a shame. Warriors really needed some love. They needed a really good hero. They didn't get one. And with a speed stat of 1180, if Mockman magically turned out to be a viable hero, then everyone would just run carry to energy steal him in PvP. Because, I'm sorry, Mockman, that active skill is never happening. And heck, energy steal isn't even going to be the only thing that stops Mockman. You can CC him with pretty much Jara, Aspen. Pick your poison, man. You could even meme and just run Sherlock or Holmes Young and just dove him. All of these heroes outspeed Mockman. Even, look, 8 speed faster. Oh my word. And Sherlock is just an infinitely better hero. So if Mockman, by some bizarre thing, became what everyone wanted to run, he's so easily countered that it's a joke. 30% control immunity, or 25 when he's not upgraded, is not really going to make the difference. If it was 100% control immunity, then that speed stat would be a little more negligible, but even then, he's not immune to Carrie's energy steal. And honestly, yeah, massive disappointment of a hero. I can't say anything more than that. It's just, he is bad. You don't even need to test him. You just have to read. That's the fun thing about a hero like this. There's nothing convoluted about these skills. It's clear as day. The only thing he's got going for him is that attack steal. And yeah, it's a shame. Hopefully his Transcendence form is really good. It would be nice to see. And hopefully you've learned about how to analyze heroes and think critically about what they do. If you haven't, that's okay. But just know, hitting one enemy is really bad. If it's random, it's even worse. And having abilities that depend on each other and are so bottlenecked by an active skill is probably one of the worst ways you can build a hero, and is so easily countered that it's just a pure joke. And the only way to get around that is to be fast, which Mockman isn't. So, yeah. Big doo-doo hero. I'm very sorry he's not very good, and hopefully his Transcendence hero is better. If you enjoyed this, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Happy idling.